If you don't believe in zombies, then I think you might after watching this documentary. It was 1947. The horrendous way to lose your mind and then your life is the Russian sleep experiment. In 1894, a Russian scientist named Marie de Maricine started experimenting on what would happen if the basic necessities of life were taken away from human beings. It started by operating on puppies, but later on, Russian scientists contemplated about an experiment in which the subject would be awakened for a 30-day long stretch without any fatigue. This experiment was done to exterminate tiredness of their soldiers, to grab an upper hand in any war. So they brought in 5 prisoners of World War II as their subjects, and in exchange, they signed a pact of their freedom. They were locked in an experimental room where a special gas was pumped all the time. They kept them in a sealed environment to carefully monitor the oxygen intake. Everything was provided to them, barring one, a bed to sleep on. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. Suddenly they stopped talking to each other and began whispering alternatively to the microphones and started talking to their own reflections in the mirror. They started looking at each other as some sort of rivals. Suddenly on the 9th day, one of them started yelling straight for 3 hours. With this, he physically damaged his vocal cord and now was just able to squeak. Most surprising part was that there was no reaction from other captives. One more down, same happened with him. 3 days passed, no whisper and no screaming. Finally, on 15th day, the door was opened and fresh air was released in the chamber. Soldiers saw that after 5th day, the food ration was not even touched, and 4 of the 5 were still alive. But the most horrific part was that there were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects, thighs and chest, stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber. The other 4 living subjects also had a large portion of muscles, skin, and meat torn away from their body. All the wounds were self-inflicted. This also means they lost their feelings. Soldiers were even able to see their lungs from their rib cages. Isn't it a zombie? They absolutely lost their feelings.
Not only this, there is one more brutal experiment from Russia.
In which scientists kept a dog head alive for a few hours. This is the time of 1940. Even the dog's head reacts to external stimuli. So here was the plan. They created an artificial heart which was used to circulate blood in dog's head. It even reacted to light, to sounds, to citric acids. Although these types of experiments were prohibited due to animal safety, but isn't it horrific?
There is an unknown parasite which controls bugs like beetles. It eats nearly all internal organs of that bug and controls its limbs, which makes it quite scary. The question is, can this parasite control humans? Well, scientists say no, not yet. But if it adapts and becomes capable to control us, then it may also zombify us.
There is this type of fungus which is called Ophiocordyceps campanoti floridani, which releases such smell that if it is smelled by insects like ants, it is controlled by them and leads them to a place where it can grow, where water and sunlight is available, and then ant eats itself, as it is controlled by the floridani fungus. This is how this fungus reproduces. When ants eats itself, from that point fungus grows. This fungus zombifies and kills crores of species. Now scientists are finding that if this fungus adapts and become larger, will it control humans and zombify us? And the answer is yes, it can control us.
Of gold or a coat of red, a lion still has claws. Mine are long and sharp, my lord, as long and sharp as yours. And so he spoke.